My name is Sara.
My name's Sabrina.
And we are members of the Teen Arts Council, and we are here today in the Teen Art Gallery to be interviewing Suzanne
Bocanegra. That's me. Would you like to introduce yourself, say a little bit about your art, who you are, where you're from?
Well, my name is Suzanne Bocanegra, and I'm an artist, and I live in New York. And that's actually the way I start every single show that I do.
I want to move into our questions. Starting more surface level, from what I've seen in your art, it tends to revolve around a mood. And how does your mood during art making impact the mood of the total artwork?
Oh, I saw that question last night, and you know, I don't think it affects it because maybe once you finish a piece of art, it has a mood. But when you're actually working on it day to day, I mean, you have different moods every day. Some days you just feel terrible, and some days you feel okay, and some days you feel great. And but you're still working in your studio, and you're still working on that same piece.
So I have a question for you, and it's something that I've noticed throughout your art. I've noticed that you use a mix and match of items, that you put them together. And like, what is your favorite material to work with, or your favorite like just color palette? Like, what is that?
I kind of go for a dull palette. You know, like a lot of whites, beiges, pale colors, pale oranges, pale blues. I don't know why. You know, I've always been that way ever since I was a kid. And as far as materials, lately I've been gathering a lot of old clothes. Amazing costumes from the Metropolitan Opera. And some of them I'm using in this piece tomorrow night. But and they're so beautifully made because these are really expert seamstresses. Right. Just a little too shabby, they can't use them anymore, you know, but I can. And in fact, sometimes my daughter helps me with things and she'll like, oh, can I take this home to wear? So she's enhanced her wardrobe quite a bit.
Certain thing that when you're picking out your items, is there a certain thing that you look for that kind of creates your art? Like,
I like rough stuff, you know. I like old linen. Like I was unpacking the costumes that I took. One thing that I have is actually I bought this in Paris. There's a thrift store in Paris. Catholic Church has stocked it with stuff that they don't use anymore. So you have all these like priest robes and things like that. Beautiful. And they weren't the cheapest things in the world, but still. And I brought one of this, I guess you call it a cassock. It's the thing that the priest wears under that big poncho. And it's all this beautiful handmade lace, and the linen's kind of rough, you know. Oh, it's beautiful.
How do you communicate throughout your art?
Well, I'll just talk about the piece that I'm doing here. It's an artist lecture by Suzanne Bocanegra. This is a formal title. Honor, an artist lecture by Suzanne Bocanegra, starring Lily Taylor. I'm sure you've gone to these. It's like, and it's part of being an artist where you have your slides, you know, and you're saying, I did this, and this I did, and this influenced that structure, and I combined it with the world of theater. And in the world of theater, they have all these tricks and tools that they've used for hundreds of years, actually, to be entertaining. Whereas artist lectures, they're informational, you know, they're not necessarily entertaining, or any of the lectures you go to in school or whatever. And the form of communication that the theater has in these pieces.
So are you a fan of theater? Is that something that you like?
Yeah, I go to theater a lot. There's all this downtown theater, well, we call it downtown, but it's Brooklyn and it's everywhere, Queens, everywhere. But it's very experimental, and people are trying all kinds of things. And there's amazing dance that's in New York happening. Like there's like, you know, 100 things happening every night. And so I've been trying to go to a lot of that over the years, and you just learn so much. Most of the things you see are not good, but that's just the way it is. And if you get one little takeaway, you know, like, oh, I like the way they did that, you know, then it's work. Or you one little takeaway is, I'm never doing that. Like this. I live with my family downtown, and I had my artist studio at home. And finally I was able to get enough money together, and so I rent a studio outside of our house now in Brooklyn. And we had this space that I wasn't using anymore. And my husband and I went to see a performance. And as we were waiting for it to start, I looked at my husband and I said, let's build a theater in where my studio was. And he said, okay. And we did. So we have this little theater. It's a little stage. It's like 8 by 10 feet. And we have like these kind of benches. And then we have the lofts for the kids to sit in. And that kind of also, I didn't know anything about theater. Honestly, I didn't. But building one, it's like you build it and they will come. And sure enough, like I meet somebody, I'll do something in that. Or I can, and so people started doing things, and I learned so much from just people doing things in the little theater that we built in our house.
What advice would you give your younger teenage self for steps to becoming an exhibiting artist?
Maybe not be intimidated by it, because I was always super intimidated by it. And also realizing that every show is not, like say you're in a group show. I'm just giving it for instance. And you get on a wall that you think is a terrible wall, or whatever. You get in things aren't going your way. You know what? There's going to be another show.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel like everything everything is riding on that one particular thing.
I want to go to the lightning round now.
Yes.
So first one, describe your art in 3 words.
Oh, funny, sad, honest.
Okay, and top 2 colors in your art.
Pale peach, pale blue.
Favorite food?
Cheese.
What type of
Interesting.
cheese?
What type of cheese?
I like almost every type of cheese. The smellier, the better.
Comfy or formal?
Comfy.
What is your favorite, do you have a favorite art piece that you've done?
Yeah.
Art piece that I've done?
Yes.
Well, the last piece I did, of course. I mean, it's like, it's kind of the last piece you do is like the one you're closest to.
Yes.
And I think it's the best one I've
What
done.
would you say to people who are wanting to watch it, a quick summary?
I would just say it's not like any artist lecture you've ever seen before.
Yeah, so I want to thank
Yes.
Suzanne Bocanegra again for being here. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Those 20 minutes passed in 5. But thank everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Hope you guys visit the Teen Art Gallery. Thank you, my co-host Sarah. And thank you, Sabrina.